An approach that ensures you are perceived and described in a compelling way. And the first point says, make your clients the voice you listen to. I mean, here you're listening to me talk about ways to attract and keep great clients. I appreciate that more than you know, but before you ever listen to me, listen to your clients. Your clients are receiving the service you provide. They are so close. Make them the voice you listen to. How do you do that? How many of you have received a referral in the last 2 or 3 months from a client? And undoubtedly, you called that client and said, thank you. Not saying thanks is like not feeding the goose that lays the golden eggs. You have to pay tribute to that. But here's what you can say at the end of the conversation. If you're my client and you introduced Mark to me, and I called you up and said, thank you so much for introducing Mark, I'm curious. We had such a great conversation, Mark and I. He was so engaged in the process. If you don't mind me asking, what did you say when you introduced Mark to me? How did you describe me? And let them describe you. And brace yourself, because you might not like what they say. And not because it's negative, but it's probably not clear. And here's the thing. If your favorite client can't describe you to you, they're probably not doing a great job describing you to somebody else. And you'll stumble into some referrals every now and again, but you want it to be more consistent. Are you with me? I'll get into more examples in a moment. A formula for success. I listened to the panel sharing, again, proven strategies. And the one that really stood out for me was basically the message of being interested and not interesting. You know so much about what it is you do. But at the end of the day, it's what matters to the client. It's so much more important to be interested in the client than interesting. There is an acronym that perfectly defines your relationship, and the acronym is FORM. And I know you've probably heard this before, but FORM speaks to the panorama. You think about this, okay? The products and services you provide, the firm you represent, it's all very important, but that's the message. You are the messenger. Relationships are proprietary. The more you get to know about your clients, the more they share with you, you get to understand why financial independence is so important to them. And when you understand the why, they will appreciate your how you get them there. You think of a typical 20-minute conversation with a client. You talk about their family, you talk about their occupation, and you talk about their recreational interests. And money and financial independence is often a means to those ends. Family, investment, legacy, multi-generations, occupational issues, business succession, retirement, recreational pursuits, things that are on their list that they want to go and do once they're financially independent. You are the gateway to all of that. Family, occupation, recreation, and money. You bring a great degree of value to the money, but understand the other three. In 20 minutes, you spend 15 minutes talking about the first three, and probably 5 minutes talking about the four. When you place as much emphasis on the chemistry you have with people, they put that much more emphasis on your credentials and how you get them to their goals. Now, I talked about family, the power of permission marketing. This is a big distinction between salespeople and consultants. Salespeople don't chase. Salespeople chase, consultants attract. Permission marketing is when you engage somebody in a conversation and their responses to your questions give you permission to go deeper. And as you know, many issues are 2 or 3 questions deep. So how can you use permission marketing to segue and springboard to a conversation about referability without looking needy? Here's one of several examples.